But Cal, got some questions for you.
I'm not being rude by looking at my phone.
No,
I'm just trying to keep up to date with the situation at the team.
That's fine.
HRC.
No, well, you know, we'll allow you.
What I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, you know, that sort of stuff.
Well, you always ignore all that anyway, but if they do want you to go and race, it would be good if you went. There's a tweet from Angus Parker, and if you'd like to know what that says, can you read that with your eyes? Because none of us will be able to. If you could change one thing in MotoGP, what would it be?
At the minute, so we can race tomorrow. And be able to put on a show for all the people that have came here, all the teams. We want to race as much as everyone here sat in the stands wants us to race, so that would be the one at the moment. If I could change any other rule, it would be to be able to change the engines in the middle of the season.
Right. Yeah.
If we're talking about bikes.
Not be tired. OK, the next question. How much does the waiting around affect the mindset of your mindset? This is from Anthony Leach.
Not so much, because I'm sat here with you guys. Not
sharing
really,
your wealth of experience.
Not really worried too much about the situation. It's never nice. It's never nice for anybody. You guys have to fill a lot of time.
I suppose he might be kind of aiming this at, or maybe it's more pertinent. If you've just seen a rider crash, like let's go back to yesterday, for example, with Tito. When something like that has happened on track, how do you, when you're in the garage, you know, kind of refocus and go back out on the track and put that to one side? How does that work? I think people that don't race, that's always on their mind.
First of all, the people and the guys here will get this because they race or did race. People think that we're completely different people to everyone else. We still do the same things, you know. We still talk to people. We don't go and suddenly lock ourselves in a room and never speak to anyone again. And you have to be relaxed in the situation. Obviously, what happened with Tito yesterday was awful. To be hit by a bike and us all see it and understand what the situation was when we'd said it's ridiculous, don't ride. Then it's difficult because then, you know, you may have to go back out there. We did in qualifying. Obviously, the circumstances were a lot different, but you have to change your mindset that, you know, what has just happened has not happened. That's quite difficult to do.
Yeah.
But being in the garage waiting, at the end of the day, it's the same for everybody else. That's the way I see it.
If you've got a text, though, right now saying the race is happening at 3 o'clock, the mode that you're in now, when does it change, or does it ever change for yourself, putting your leathers on just before you get on the bike for the sighting lap? Is there a switch? Obviously, you just mentioned me looking straight ahead. That was my thing. But
yeah.
Do you have your thing?
No. Honestly, I don't. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little superstitious with the things that I do, but it makes absolutely no difference to me. Obviously, I want my wife and my daughter with me on a normal day. But if there's people in the motorhome, if there's...
Has that always been the case?
Yeah,
or is that just the last few years?
That is not going to change what is going to happen on track. That's the way I always see it. You sit there and plan the race. You think you're going to do this. You look down the track and say, OK, I'm going to do this. And if someone elbows you off the line and you suddenly go left, you can't control that.
Were you like that as a kid, though, as well? Or just as you got older with the family?
I think I came into that because I used to think that racing was the only thing that was important.
So it's given you more perspective in some ways in terms of the big picture of life, really, without getting too deep. But
I think so, yeah. Sure.
Another question for you then. This is from Ian Daniels. He said, you once said that you couldn't win a championship on a satellite bike. How do you feel about that now? It's defining satellite, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's possible, yeah. I do think it's possible if you have the right team and the right bike. You're always going to be that one step behind the factory guys and what they're on, that's sure. I started the year in an identical bike to Mark. But then obviously it changes a little bit over the year and then it becomes a little bit more difficult. But that's not to say what they have is better.
Right.
Because sometimes they might choose it, but you might not choose it, you know. If we were just talking... I'm not going back to the carbon swing arm, but if we're talking about like something like the carbon swing arm, maybe he feels it's better, but maybe when I use it, I don't even like it.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. You know, Danny had the opportunity to use it earlier on in the year. He used it for a couple of races, and then he's not using it again because he doesn't like it. You know, that's... Or he doesn't have that same feeling with it.
And your change of opinion is maybe something to do with the new electronics rules that came in, do you think, over the last couple of years? Or do you, what's
I think
changed?
it's brought it a lot closer, and the Michelins have brought it a lot closer. You know, you can't just have these guys spending money like it's going out of fashion just to make 2/10 a lap on the electronics, and that's good. I do think it's possible, yeah, I really do. When? I don't know. Will it be me? I have no idea.
Well, we all hope so. Yeah, exactly. Next tweet's from Rory. What manufacturer would you like to see enter MotoGP?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Indian.
With Anthony Hopkins riding?
Yeah.
None, because it'll make it even more difficult than what it is now.
To be fair,
I think KTM have done a fantastic job coming in and doing what they're doing. I think, I don't know. I'd like to say BMW. I know they haven't even got a World Superbike team at the moment, but I think that they have the resources and manpower to be able to do something like that.
That's okay.
So I'd say them.
All right, yeah. Have we got another tweet? I hope that's not the tweet, because at the moment on...
Ooh, good luck.
We've got a Snog, marry, avoid. I'm sorry, I don't have any control over this. Redding, Marquez, Rossi. Snog, marry, avoid. That's where we are in today's coverage, ladies and gentlemen.
So you've got to choose one that you want to snog, one that you've got to marry, and then the other one's got to avoid.
Look at them working it out, seriously. Look at them. James is thinking about his look. In fact, you know what? You can all do it. You can all do this one.
I would
Cal.
Snog Marquez, I would marry Valentino, and I'd avoid Redding.
I kind of knew that you were going to say that. James?
Yeah, you're not far off there, but why... Yeah, why marry Rossi then?
Oh, the money.
Oh, you are so... What a gold digger.
Oh, yeah.
What a gold digger. Terrible.
Yeah, it'd be the same. Snog Marquez, marry Rossi, and avoid Redding for sure.
I'll stick to the missus if that's all right.
Well, I think you've all got perfectly wonderful partners. How will Lorenzo go next year is the next question at Honda. That's from Paul Thomas, yeah. These are aimed at you, actually, Cal. Yeah, ignore this laugh.
I think it'll be very difficult for him. Very, very difficult.
Are you looking forward to beating him?
Yeah. Not because of Jorge, just because I don't think he'll do what he's doing with the Ducati. The Ducati now is such a good bike all around at every single circuit. The Honda's not. You have to fight the thing. You have to ride like mad. You have to push like you wouldn't believe. And he complains about his arms now. Wait until he gets on the Honda.
Okay, I understand exactly what you're saying. He went from a Yamaha that you know to the Ducati. He's adapted, correct? You don't think he can go to the Honda?
No.
And adapt as well?
What, even with the wings on the fuel tank and all that?
No.
Come on.
Because he thinks they're going to make him the carbon piece to go around the tank. Yeah, that would take 3 years. You know, and I don't mean that rude. You don't get that in.
You might bring his Ducati on, just bolt it on.
You know, you don't get that in Japanese manufacturers. It doesn't happen like that. I think he's a very good rider, and I wouldn't put it past him to be able to adapt and come to the front and win. But the bike we have now, the way he thinks he's going to lean off and just turn with his head and put 3 fingers on and 1 finger on, and that is not going to happen. I can tell you now. Is
there also going to be, you're just talking about the seat position and everything there, and there's surely politics going to be in that team as well. I mean, they've got the championship leader. Arguably, this is the guy that's going to win the championship if nothing, goes wrong for him. They're not suddenly going to make a bike around Jorge, are they?
No, not in a million years. I think they're going to make a more neutral bike, which is what we've been asking for a long time, which will help him a lot if they can do it. If not, we have the experience of what we've been riding already.
In terms of what for next year? Do you know what's coming for next year?
No, but I think the way that we've tried to always direct it is to go and try to improve the bike so that everybody can ride it. I gotta go.